Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 3rd of May 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this last trading day of this week. Welcome to Friday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE100. Now, I talked about the FTSE yesterday and, to be honest, throughout this whole week. And basically, what I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this upside support line taken from the lows of December last year. So this was a very important line. It is still a very important line, but this is what we were looking for. We were looking for that nice good close below it, and this is what we got yesterday. So of course, looking at this picture right now, at the moment it doesn't look very promising here for FTSE. In a way, we could see a further slide lower. The area that we're going to be targeting will be still around the 7,290 zone. Just slightly below that, we do have the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, shown as the black line here. So keep your eyes on this one. Again, like I said, given the fact that it is now below this upside support line, it closed below this upside support line, and also this key support zones at 7,370 zone. Now all this kind of creates this kind of bearish atmosphere here, at least for a while. So we're going to be very cautious on this one. Of course, also let's not forget that the proximity of the price kind of still to this upside line. So in a way, also be prepared for any potential kind of strong reversal back above this if it suddenly shoots back up. So that's why, guys, have your stop losses in place, and ideally probably a stop loss could be somewhere around here near the 7,390 level. So just in case it travels back up here, pushes above the 7,370 and then decides to continue higher. So in a way, that's why the 7,390 level could be that nice little stop loss target here for you guys. But again, you do whatever you are comfortable with. This is just a suggestion. But again, in terms of the upside, we would need to see a push back above the 7,390 level. Then we will target the 7,410 that previously acted as a good area of support. But to be honest, for us to get comfortable with higher levels, ideally we would like to see at least a push above this downside resistance line that I talked about in one of my previous videos here when I was covering FTSE, and this one is running here from the highs of May 2018. So in a way, for us to consider higher levels again, we would like to see a nice good push above that downside resistance line. So for now, keep your eyes on this one. For now, judging from the current picture, it is looking more bearish than bullish, but be very careful with today's day. We do have the NFPs today, by the way, so just if you kind of forgot about that, today's the NFP day. So yep, keep your eyes on the numbers there. And that actually leads us into gold. Now, gold, yesterday also talked about this one, and this is what I was telling you yesterday in the morning, basically, to keep a close eye on this, because what we could see here is a false breakout, and this is where we got here, and this nice false breakout here, it broke below this upside support line. This upside support line, by the way, is running here from the lows of August last year. So this nice medium-term upside support line kind of continues to hold. failed. We did have this, like I said, this false breakout here, but you can see that the 4-hour candles never closed below it. So this is becoming quite an important line to watch. Again, like I said, we might see maybe this one just dragging and moving sideways, or not moving at all up until probably the NFPs will come out. So keep your eyes on this one. Of course, if we see another drop below this upside support line, now again the same game plan for us remains here. We need to see that nice good break and a close of the 4-hour candle below the 1266 zone, and only then we will target much lower areas. So for now, that's the situation. Let's see if it's actually going to play out, if the downside scenario is going to play out. But for now, because it's back above this upside support line, of course, this kind of puts a bit of a positive spin on all this. The only thing is that for us to consider at least some higher levels, we would like to see a nice good push back above the 1276 initially. Sorry, yeah, 1226. 1276, and then of course ideally maybe another push above the 1281. If that happens, then we will target the 200 EMA again. So for now, that's the situation. Keep your eyes on this one, and let's keep an eye on this price action today, especially during the NFP numbers. So probably the suggestion here is don't put anything before the NFP. Just it's always better to kind of react to the numbers rather than try to predict them, or try to predict the outcome here. Jumping into Bitcoin very quickly, talked about this one yesterday as well. This is what I was telling you to watch out for. The 5,750 level got broken nicely. We had a nice break here this morning, and you can see that of course it could potentially travel higher. The only thing is that let's see how this day is going to end. I mean, I do understand that this is going to continue trading on Saturday and Sunday, but still it's going to be very interesting to see if we're actually going to get a close below this 5,750 level, because if it closes below, then to be honest, I mean, we could see a further slide lower here. The level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on here as well is the 5,695 zone. I do understand it's very close, but very important potential support zone. If it gets broken, it could open the path back down here towards the 5,370 or even lower. Let me just quickly put an arrow here for our future reference, because for us that's going to be the downside scenario, the short-term downside scenario. Of course, in terms of the upside, of course, given the fact that it's now trading above this 5,750 level, of course it increases the potential here to kind of to see Bitcoin traveling further up here towards maybe the psychological 6,000 level, or even the 6,240. And just to show you what that level was here in the past, that was that was the low of, and it was near the lows of the 31st of October. So keep your eyes on this one. For now, like I said, it is looking more bullish than bearish, but if we start seeing breaks back below the 5,750 and then eventually a break below the 5,695 zone, this is where we will probably shift our heads a little bit to the downside, at least for a short while. Ripple, it's basically stuck. And I mean, it's stuck. It's, of course, it continues to trade above this little tentative upside support line taken from the lows of the 25th of April. But to be honest, it's kind of a tricky one. It's not performing as well as Bitcoin, for example. So in a way, what we're going to do here is we're going to wait for a nice good push above these recent highs. And let me just quickly put those on the chart. Let me just get rid of some of these lines. Too many lines, I do apologize, guys. So basically we're looking for a nice good push above this recent high near the 0.3280 zone, and only then we'll consider higher levels. We'll consider a possible move further up here, and maybe even going actually all the way here towards the high of the 18th of April near the 0.35 zone. But for now it is where it is. We can't even say that we're bearish on this one, because for us to become a little bit more bearish on this one, we need to see a drop below this downside resistance line, and this downside resistance line has been running here from the highs of 5th of April. So that's why, guys, for now we're going to be quite neutral on this one, but wait for potential break of one of our key support and resistance levels. So on the upside, once again, we do have this 0.3280 zone, and on the downside, well, on the downside, to be honest, it's a bit of a tricky one. Probably keep an eye on this downside resistance line, but as well, you could in a way watch out for this little level near the 0.30 45, something like that, approximately there. So yep, in this way we could potentially then target lower areas. Jumping into a few pairs now, euro dollar. So this is what I was talking about yesterday, and basically when I was covering euro dollar, we were still trading around here, basically around this little area, but what I was saying is to keep a close eye on this little tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of March. So finally the pair managed to break it to the downside. For us, the bearish kind of sign is a nice good break below the 1.1175. This of course creates this kind of bearish atmosphere, which could lead the pair at least towards the 11120. Now, of course, don't forget again the NFPs today. Everything could change. I mean, we could see maybe a strong shoot back up here. So that's why, guys, for now we're just going to observe this one. Certainly, of course, on one hand, because it's trading below the 1.1175, this creates this bearish atmosphere. The only thing is that if it would have been maybe any other day, I would say that yes, we could continue further down here, but because it's the NFP day today, so keep your eyes on those numbers, because like I said, we could maybe see a surprise and a push, and where the euro dollar would explode again and push higher. So that's why for now we're just gonna remain somewhat neutral on this one, or should I say maybe even actually cautiously bearish. Let's put it that way. Yeah, they're cautiously bearish, because like I said, it is trading below the pivot already. It is trading below the 1.1175. So yep, we may see further decline, but again, like I said, don't exclude the NFP numbers later on today. USDCAD, similar story as well. Of course, it did have a nice push higher here. It managed to break above the 1.3450 level. It also managed to push kind of above the 1.3465 zone as well. It's currently balancing around it. Now, of course, looking at this picture, it's the same in a way like with the euro dollar. At the moment, yes, it is looking positive. We could see further move higher here, at least towards the 1.3520 zone, which is right here, which is marked near the highs of the 24th of April. But because, like I said, it is the NFP day today, and we could see maybe a surprise and a slide lower. So that's why, guys, for now, not gonna speculate on this too much. Basically, yes, at the moment it is looking quite positive. We could see a further move higher, and it would be ideal for this pair to push higher here, but again, like I said, do not exclude the NFPs. In terms of the downside here, in a way, what you could do here is maybe look at this 1.34 level. A drop below it could, of course, send the pair a little bit lower. The only thing is that also bear in mind the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart here. In a way, for those who are more on the cautious side, you could in a way wait until we see a drop below the 200 EMA, and then could potentially target lower areas. The only problem with that is that we're kind of missing a lot of this space here, possible move. So from the very short term perspective, what you could do here is keep your eyes on the 1.3450 level again. If we see a drop below this, then yep, it increases the chances for the bears kind of to drive this one lower. The only thing is we probably have a very tight stop loss, and just in case this suddenly reverses, let's say it rebounds from these EMAs here, the 21 and the 50, and then pushes back up again. So something like that could be possible as well. That's why, guys, keep your stop loss in place. It wouldn't even hurt you if you would have a tight one especially today. So that's why, guys, yep, for now, keep your eyes on the levels. Like I said, if it accelerates higher, what we're going to be targeting here is the 1.3520 zone. If it drops below the 1.3450, initially we will target the 134, and then we'll see how it performs near the 200 EMA. USDCHF, very quickly on this one, similar story. It had a nice run. Initially, of course, it broke below here. It broke below this key support zone near the 1.0160, traveled lower, had a fantastic touch here near the 1.0125, and then rebounded and pushed higher. Certainly now it's kind of stuck here. I wouldn't even say this is a range, it's just some key important levels here. So it's currently stuck just around the 1.02 level. So in a way, if we get a nice further push higher here, the next target for us could be around the 1.0238, marked near the highs of the 26th of April. If that fails to withhold further, push higher towards the 1.0250 level could be possible as well. And just to kind of show you what that level was in the past, the 1.0250, for this one I have to actually jump back into a daily chart, and to show you that this was near the highs. It was near the highs of the 10th of January, if I'm not mistaken. So 10th or 11th of January, so somewhere around there, guys. So of 2017, of course. So we need to kind of point that out. But jumping back into the 4-hour chart, of course, at this point in time, yes, it is looking quite positive, but again, let's not exclude the numbers today. So yep, keep your eyes on the release, the data release, and we might get a surprise and then push back down. If we do see a push back down, strong move lower, 1.0160 level, that's going to be the one that we're going to be watching. A nice good break below it could lead the pair further down, but we'll evaluate that again, see how it's performing. Probably we'll have a look at the these pairs again during later on today at my traders tea time, just to see how they've performed, how they've kind of went along. That will be very actually interesting to have a look at, and yep, some other instruments as well. So okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me, like I said, if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, and that's 13:15 GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful day. Be very, very careful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.